Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and yes, we find ourselves back in Shogun 2. It has been a while, and this was actually as a part of the event, Repopulate Shogun 2, hosted by Indie Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War. He took control of the Total War stream and ran this event where he invited people to join him on Shogun 2 Total War. We got a bunch of players together. The live stream was awesome. You can catch the replays if you go to the official Total War channel, Twitch channel. The videos have been archived. We did a bunch of battles. Indie Pride hosted the whole thing, went on for multiple hours. I only joined in for a couple battles here and there. So this is one of those battles. It's going to be a 3 versus 3. Shogun 2 battles tend to go very, very quickly, so what we're going to do is going to be to give you kind of a general overview of the battlefield, focus in on my side, and then we'll go back and watch what happens on the other side. So let's go over the players. So myself on the left fighting Cairo Storms. In the center, it's Dita Von Teese fighting against Indie Pride. And then on the right hand side, we have Thorn Falcon Eye versus Agony Achilles. And the battle here is getting underway very quickly with the cavalry charge. I'll leave this as a teaser because we'll cover that in the future. But anyways, a bit of the rules of what we've been doing so far. So for this tournament, we had a lot of people from different skill levels, different hours played in the game. And so as a result, what we decided to do was basically no veterans are allowed. So these are all going to be vanilla units, which adds a bit of fairness to the game, but still you have the general's bodyguard and the different tokens that people can play. So that was a little bit unbalanced, but this is as close as we could get it. Anyways, I know you guys don't like slow-mo, so we'll put it back into full speed here soon. Just want to show you what I'm doing first. So my army composition: on the right flank, sneaking through the force, I have Yari Cav backed up by a Matchlock Samurai. Same on the left, but I have an additional Yari Samurai. So 2 hidden flanks. I always love to use hidden forces. Then up through the center, I have a couple Boa Shigaru. Put this on play. So they're pushing up, backed up by some Yari Cav, and then I have lines of Yari Ashigaru pushing up the center. Again, fodder units just to catch the enemy up through the middle. And then we have a line of Nodachi. Nodachi are key because you can pop Bonsai and have them be unbreakable, get through matchlock fire, and hold out in a long fight. So that's my main line in the center. And then I have some Katana Samurai backing that up, and then some more Yari Cavalry. So the initial engagement is going to be fought over this house, where the enemy is lined up with Bow Warrior Monks who outrange me, and he's got some Matchlock Ashigaru. In the center, he's got more units and a big line of Katana Samurai with Firebomb throwers on the far left flank. So this is going to be interesting. He's starting to get the initial advantage. Bow Warrior Monks with the extreme range are going to start firing away, picking away my units, but that's fine. I have fodder troops. Meanwhile, I've descended upon him with 2 Bow Ashigaru units, here to surprise this Matchlock Ashigaru, and then I charge in with some cavalry, and the deftness of the cavalry in Shogun 2 is awesome. Really good. Allows me to pull out of that fight without taking many losses to the spears, and this was all to delay that push. Meanwhile, he's continuing to take lots of fire from my archers. I sweep around the flank with my Yari cavalry, and then another pretty devastating strike, and then here in the bamboo, take a look as I charge in with my Yari Ashigaru, and we're going to be able to break actually this weakened Yari Ashigaru that's wavering. And this is a pretty awesome screenshot here. And then take a look at what I've got at the top. Murderous firing being poured in with my reinforcements. All of this was an ambush up on this flank. And then my cavalry is going to pour through, beat back the enemy Yari cavalry that I baited into this fight and shot at. So now my enemy is forced to pull back, and I'm going after his vulnerable Bow Warrior Monks. But the last time I pull out of this engagement, knowing that his spears have shattered, and then I'm going to pull back simply through my own lines. So we're starting to get a nice bit of combat. My spears are going to charge down from the hill to reinforce my line, drive this massive enemy cav back. And this is going to allow me to claim this hilltop position, this flank of the dojo, and then also line up for some nice matchlock shots from the top of the hill. So I would say I've gotten the best of this engagement, due in large to my ambush and quick attacks on this flank. On this side of the battlefield, I've charged forward again with another hidden unit. Yari Cav is going to take pretty staggering losses, but in exchange I do cripple the enemy's front ranks of gunners, which are very key to his battle plans. So with one Matchlock Ashigaru basically pinned down, and then the other one here taking tons of fire from my bows. You'll also notice that I've hidden my bows behind the dojo to prevent them from getting hit. So yeah, these matchlocks are going to get pulverized and charged, boom, before they can get any shots off. And the blood and gore here in Shogun 2 is simply incredible. So I'm faring pretty well. On this flank, the enemy did outnumber me, considering I engaged so close to their line. My cavalry is still free. Another Yari Cav thrown into the mix just to tie them up and allow my matchlocks here to get more free shots. But what I'm doing is, yes, I may end up losing this eventually, but what did I trade for it? Well, I traded a single Yari Ashigaru and perhaps one or two Yari Cav, and in exchange I picked up an enemy Bow Ashigaru, I picked off enemy cavalry, I picked off matchlock warrior monks, and I picked off some bow warrior monks, I believe. Yeah, so all of this very cost effective. My opponent does pull up his general in a bid to see me off, but I'm pulling in with some more reinforcements. And now here comes the charge from a main line. I'm reinforcing with my bows just to kite this. But in the center, ooh, my opponent is caught just unprepared for a huge bonsai charge. And this is where I love to see the glory of Shogun's 2 units. This is red versus red battles here, so it's a little hard to keep track of who is who. But on the right side is obviously my troops charging forward. Lots of Nodachi charging into an enemy spear line that before had matchlock support that was pretty much impenetrable, but I was able to strip that with cavalry charge, archer volleys, and now I can basically charge uncontested down the center. And I still have a lot of reserves still waiting. The enemy's flank here is breaking. I did have some matchlock Ashigaru here that push matchlock samurai. Yeah, basically what they did is they pushed to this flank, got some shots off on the enemy cav that was firing away, that was trying to get in on my allies' flank, so they did well. And then they turned about to help support this flank. So keeping hidden units, I find, is extremely important. I use it a lot in Shogun 2, always having hidden units on the flank. It allows me to draw the enemy into unfavorable positions, and then here basically open themselves up to a huge flanking blow, and I baited in some cavalry. Still got plenty of katana samurai, the center is holding, and then I've reinforced this hill with bows. Basically 2 bows and a matchlock unit with just 1 katana samurai, and the amount of firepower that I can put in on this position just doesn't allow anyone to move forward. He did bring fire rockets, which is an interesting choice, something you don't see too much, so perhaps oh no, sorry, that was bow warrior monks. I was kind of surprised to see fire rockets, but no, bow warrior monks, and they're going to be killed. And he did bring a couple of bomb throwers, so they got their volleys off. It's a good move to throw at clusters of troops, but at this point I've pretty much broken through, so his only hope is to try and hold me here and fire away with the matchlocks. It's doing pretty good work. A couple of my men going down, but now we're in it. Not much else he can do. And I get an awesome charge with my katana samurai and Nodachi. Let's watch as they just tear into these weak Ashigaru units. So there goes the complete rout. And I've decided to rewind the battle back a little bit just so we can get a bit more of a perspective for this. We are also at the end of this battle going to rewind and watch it from another perspective on the far east side of the battlefield, just because the Shogun 2 battles end up being really close. I want to make sure we get the most out of the action. So at this point I've rewound the clock back to when I won the left flank, I inflicted severe losses on the enemy, pulled back, and now I'm susceptible to a rout. So take a look at my decision making. I'm being chased off by a bow hero, pull up supporting units, pull up my own avatar's bodyguard, and sorry, when I said hero I meant enemy lord with the bow skill, I believe. And then what I start to do is have a staggered deployment of my bows, pull them off in different positions. I know that he is susceptible to being charged, but at the same time I've calculated that I have enough chance to move out of this position when my enemy gets close, and so might as well just stand here and fire away. And look at this, boom, that was the exact correct decision. The enemy pulls back, knowing that if he were to get even closer, I could simply pull back and get shots off with my matchlocks, charging with my katana. So that was a very calculated move. It's something you'll see me do a lot, and something I recommend you do is don't overreact with your units. Don't immediately pull everything back. Leave some troops behind, but with the calculated knowledge that yes, they can pull out if they need to. These units could have been charged by the enemy. I could have simply pulled them back. I noticed that there was no cav support. Even if there was an attempted cavalry charge by the enemy's general, I had matchlock supporting fire. So these guys, this entire time, were safe. Anyways, back to the charge on the right side, which we were covering previously, where I said matchlocks are firing on the right. The center was charged with my katanas and other units. You'll notice that I also decided to start this engagement by throwing in some cavalry units. Typically, cavalry want to go around the flank or on the sides, hit units in hammer and anvils, but they're often pretty good for breaking up enemy front lines, and that's exactly how I used my depleted cavalry forces, broke them up, and then now what resulted is a completely broken up. Oh my god, speaking of breaking up, tons of the bomb throwers. But yeah, the cavalry there disrupted the enemy front line. I forced a bunch of the redeployment of the enemy matchlocks, and that was the opening I needed to charge in with my bonsai units and just start slaughtering the rest of enemy forces. There's almost nothing left from my opponent's side of the battlefield. Yes, he has a Yari Ashigaru, but I mean, how is that going to hold up? Look at the entirety of my front rank. It is just going to pour on through here. The Matchlock Ashigaru in the back are trying to reinforce, and this is a cool map with some nice hills where they can get awesome fire over engaged lines, but there's just simply nothing left to hold down the center. And so one of the things you'll see a lot of in Shogun 2 is the pairing of matchlocks and Yari Ashigaru, a spear wall to keep anything at bay, and matchlocks to shoot anything that comes close. It ends up being very hard to break that up, so what you have to do is work the flanks. Do not engage that from the front and try and do something to win around the side. So that's what I ended up doing on my flank. So over here you can see a costly victory. I won pretty handedly on my side, but how did the rest of the battle go? Obviously you can ascertain the end result, but how did it all go down? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this replay once again from the other perspective. So I got a ton of games here, and let's watch this one. So like I was saying before, we had a bunch of cool players. People were shifting in and out of the battle. We were swapping sides here and there. I only joined briefly in this battle. I was teamed up with Any Pride and Thorn Falconi. On the other side was Agony Achilles and Cairo Storms. Both of those guys are good players. Didavontis is kind of unknown to me. I was up against Cairo Storm in my side of the battlefield. I think I kind of caught him or her by surprise on the flanks, and that kind of allowed me to steamroll, but Cairo Storm in the battles that I played previously did very, very well, and we were fighting often on the same flank, toe-to-toe against each other. So do not take this battle as an indication of anything slamming Cairo Storm. Cairo Storm played very, very well. Now let's watch this from the other perspective. So in the center, Any Pride has an interesting deployment strategy. He has 4 Kisho Ninja units, and it looks like he actually cheated, and he did bring a veteran here. So it's called Sneaky, and apparently you have to be very sneaky to be garbed in red in a green field and still not be visible to the enemy. So that's his deployment. So he's got a front line of ninjas, not something you see very often. Now you get an attendance. Indy likes to bring a lot of these cheap units, Yari Ashigaru as always, and then a very versatile Nagana warrior monk and great guard force. So this is a very interesting composition from him. On the far right flank here, you have a very, very quick charge. Pretty ballsy move from Agony Achilles, and what he was going for was to knock out these Bow Ashigarus. Looks like he almost gets one for free, knocks another one on its ass, and over here breaks another one, and then pulls out with almost no losses on his cavalry. So like I said, a very ballsy, aggressive move. And it was perhaps required. Knock out the bows, and what does the enemy have left? Well, not much to deal with what he has, which is going to be bow warrior monks, matchlock warrior monks. And what it allows him to do is pull up to the top of the hill here, gain an advantageous position, start to cap the dojo, and then basically force the enemy onto his back foot immediately. So this was a very, very bold, aggressive move. Immediately, Indy recognizes that he has to reinforce this position so as not to be defeated. Overwhelmed on this flank, so he sends his Great Guard to kind of threaten this flank, slow down Agony Achilles. In the center here, Indy's ninjas aren't doing too much. They've decided to kind of lurk back. And what's happening here is you have some foot samurai and other units starting to face off in this open ground. Always you see the Yari Ashigaru on the front lines, a bunch of these attendants, and now you see main lines forming up. But Indy's going to have the advantage of positioning himself up through the forest, and important to note, he has no ranged units, so he is focused on an aggressive push, whereas look at this army here. It is nothing but bows in the rear lines. We can go back and watch this battle real quickly just so we can see kind of how it's going to go down. It looks like it's going to be an aggressive charge from Thorn Falconi, but Agony Achilles is doing an incredible job. Ooh, cavalry force does go down. Doing a really good job to have his general unit and other cavalry forces just beat the enemy charges back. And at every step, just buy time for his army to fire away with his bows and just kite this army to death. Although we do get a nice, again, ambush from the flank with Yari Cav. Going to be picking off some bow warrior monks. That's a prime target. Indy, meanwhile, is going to be pushing up through the center. My engagement is just starting up on that hill. And then I have these hidden units on the flank with guns just to protect Indy's flank. The sheer number of units with firepower here is going to start to break some of Indy's own guys, but he is now closed past the critical range and is now coming in where his melee focused force wants to be, and that is going to be up close and personal. The ninjas are going to be leading the assault. Really funny to see that happen. So there you go. They're going to be crashing into the Yari Ashigaru, going to make mincemeat of them. So he's charging all up along the front lines against a Yari spear wall. That's going to hold up, but not very long. And then once he breaks through, what else is the enemy going to do? Well, he's got a bunch of bows and not much else. They really need to plug this gap. Indy's charging in with the Yari Cav, Great Guard. Agony Achilles realizes that, to save his ally, he has to commit his Cav. So this is Yari Cav against Great Guard. It's not going to go well. Indy does peel off some of his Cav to start to hit other units. Indy's got his Grave Guard here, so he's quickly going to help his army surround and collapse this force. Meanwhile, my opponent does pull out some Cav and hits Indy Pride in the rear, so we're seeing a lot of rapid engagements. And this is where I'm going to pull some of my light Cav and guns, which are tearing into this Nagadan warrior monk Cav that was going to try and help hammer and anvil Indy's force, but I was able to keep that from happening pretty successfully. But anyways, Agony Achilles had to commit to this fight. Spears and reinforcements are going to do away with Agony Achilles' force. And now that Agony had to commit his cavalry to this main fight to protect his ally, well, that means he can no longer hold this center position. He pulls back after basically taking no losses here and dealing tons of death to his opponent. So Agony Achilles was well on the way to victory here, but then he had to pull back because the engagement in the center was not going his way. And so now he's reforming to see what is going to happen. That's going to allow our ally here, Thor Falconite, to seize the dojo, or at least start to cap it, while in the center, Indy's powerhouse of a force just crushes through the middle, combined with his Yari Cav and Great Guard. It is no contest through here. Once he basically shattered the enemy's front lines, there is nothing holding. I mean, look at the massacre that took place of the Yari Ashigaru. And then these bows, yeah, they can put on a lot of hurt, but they can't do it quick enough to stop these incredibly fast ninja units, and especially the Cav that have gotten free in the rear lines. So this force probably would have done better for not having as many bows. I mean, it had a really nice position on this hill. If they had just 1 or 2 gunners, this could have absolutely stopped Indy's charge with the Cav up through here. And then they could have kited through the center, just a couple bows to put on the real hurt, matchlocks to put on the real hurt, and then slowly kite and pull back. So that's this engagement in the rear lines. I committed my guns and cavalry to breaking up Cairo Storm's Nagadan warrior monks, kind of saving Indy's rear lines. So now he can close.
Our men are running from the battlefield.
But yeah, Indy kind of had it in the bag. Now we can go ahead and take a look at Agony Achilles on his flank. Despite having a very, very good start to his battle, now he's starting to be overwhelmed by just lots and lots of numbers. His main force up here decided to kind of fuck it, charge into the enemy lines of Nodachi. He's going to get the drop on a bunch of Yari Samurai and do fairly well in that engagement, but he's really got no support. Most of his units got pulled off to the side to try and help this battle that ended up just costing him that engagement. And then Indy's forces here, hashtag stop gen sniping, his bodyguard there with full, I believe, melee upgrades, is going to be running around just getting tons of kills. So Indy had a tremendous cavalry force that he used to great effect, a very good rush build, and an interesting choice in ninjas. So this is why we rewinded and didn't just watch my side of the battlefield, because there was a lot more story to this engagement, and it was really, really fun to play, fun to cast. I hope you guys did enjoy this Shogun 2 battle. That is going to be about it. So as I was busy kind of charging up through the center, mopping up the enemy, well, now you are aware of what happened on the other side. Basically, we crushed it. So our team did pretty well. I'll have more battles from the live stream, and you're welcome to check out the whole live stream by going to the official Total War Twitch channel, where they have stock footage, or not stock footage, recorded video stockpiled from the event. Check out Indie Pride's channel as well, where I'm sure he'll be casting some of these videos. He did a lot more content in Shogun 2, which I don't think gets enough love, which is why this whole event took place. Repopulate Shogun 2 got some love, hopefully got a lot more people to play in Shogun 2. And Indie Pride has told me that he wants to have more of these games take place in the future. Do Repopulate Medieval 2, Repopulate Empire, Repopulate Napoleon. Try and get the juices flowing for all the various Total Wars. Yes, Warhammer is perhaps one of the most recent, most popular games, but all these ancient historical titles do, you know, deserve some love. So that is it. Let's go ahead and end the battle. Take a look at some of the final stats here that are going to be coming up at the end. And I think we did really well. On all sides. It looked like we came out with healthy numbers, particularly on my side. Against Kairo's Storm, just got the drop on him, and as you saw, he was actually committing to the fight in the center. So it looks like both of our flanks, myself and the far right, benefited from Indie Pride just being so formidable in the center that both of our opponents had to reinforce the center, thus drawing away units from the flank and giving us the additional advantage there. So overall, it played out very well. For my side, Indie Pride, yep, killing it with the smallest force but greatest number of kills of the entire match. That's just how he does. And that whole battle lasted 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Obviously, this recording lasted longer because we replayed it. So yeah, that's it. Myself, Indie Pride, Thorn Falcon, I brought a huge force, but didn't have much to show for it. Agony Achilles getting a lot of kills too. Didavon Tease, who was in the center, just got killed. Pretty much outright. Cryo Storms, who I fought against, took a pretty big chunk out of me, but in the end, you know, took 50% more casualties than was dealt. In terms of my units, let's see who killed the most. My Nodachi, Yashigaru actually on the flank, just doing tons of work. Matchuk Sami's here doing pretty well. Oh, actually, this isn't even my force. What the hell? Oh no, sorry, this is my force. I got confused because I started to see Nagana attendants, which I know I don't have. Or do I? Nope, I'm getting confused. So that's my force. Okay, here we go. Agony Achilles. Yeah, so his Nodachi charging up through the center. I'm surprised his Cav didn't get more kills than it says here. And then, oh, never mind, Didavantes. Okay, never mind. I'm getting super confused. Sorry. Let's take a look at Kairo's Storm, who was fighting against me. That we're more familiar with that battle. Yeah, the Nodachi did pretty well. Bow Warrior Monks actually doing fairly well. But you'll notice I got them to trade with Bo Ashigaru, which, yeah, you're killing 115 men, but you're killing very cheap units. So Koku-wise, not a good, efficient trade. As Firebomb Throwers here, yeah, kind of expensive. 15 kills, definitely didn't pay for himself. I mean, that's largely the story of his army. Who else can we look at? Thorn Falconer on the far right flank. Fair amount of kills with his Nodachi. Some with his cavalry. I do want to take a look at Indie Pride's kills in this battle, because I know he just raked in the murder. Okay, here we go. Yep. Take a look at this. Avatar's Bodyguard upgraded to deal damage. He is a melee general, and take a look at this. 203 kills to his name. Lost 19 men, which is relatively substantial, but just sheer numbers of kills. 183 on the Great Guard, a fair amount of those on Cav itself. Now you got a Warrior Monk Cav with 150. Kisho Ninja with 132. Those guys just cut the Ashigaru to little tiny cubes. And yeah. Overall, very awesome fight. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, there will be more content for me to cast from this Repopulate Shogun 2 battle or stream that was done, but also you can get more content from Milk and Cookies Total War, which is Indie Pride's channel, or the Total War official Twitch live stream, I guess, video bank or whatever you want to call it. So that's it for this battle. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Peace out.